The United Kingdom is moving through one of its most precarious economic moments in recent memory. For many households, the cost of living is no longer a phrase heard on the evening news. It's a relentless, day-to-day reality. Energy bills bite harder each winter. Rent and mortgage payments devour a bigger share of every paycheck. Grocery staples, milk, bread, pasta, edge upward in price with alarming frequency. In parallel, small businesses that once formed the backbone of local high streets are shuttering, unable to weather a perfect storm of rising costs, higher interest rates, and fragile consumer demand. Most governments facing such pressures would look for ways to stimulate growth. Instead, the current administration has doubled down on a mix of tight fiscal policy and aggressive taxation that critics say risks nudging the economy from stagnant into outright recession. Some ministers insist the plan is a disciplined path back to stability. Yet economists across the political spectrum warn that the UK may be tightening the belt at precisely the moment when it needs investment, innovation, and confidence. How we reached this point. To understand the danger ahead, we must retrace the last 5 turbulent years. The immediate aftermath of Brexit brought exchange rate volatility and a reordering of trade flows. COVID-19 then delivered a historic shock. National output shrank by nearly 10% in 2020, the steepest annual decline in 3 centuries. Emergency support propped up wages in businesses, but at the cost of swollen public borrowing. When lockdowns ended, pent-up demand collided with global supply shortages. Inflation surged to levels unseen since the early 1990s, peaking above 11% in late 2022. The Bank of England responded with the fastest series of rate hikes since the 1980s. Mortgage holders on variable deals felt the pain within months. Tenants saw it in rising rents as landlords passed on higher financing costs. Meanwhile, public sector workers, including nurses, rail staff, and teachers, pursued wage rises to keep pace with higher prices, triggering the most disruptive strike wave in decades. Rather than pursue a coordinated pay settlement or targeted stimulus, the Treasury tightened departmental budgets. With Whitehall already lean after years of austerity, further cuts translated into longer NHS waiting lists, overstretched classrooms, and crumbling local authorities. Why fiscal tightening may backfire. At first glance, holding the fiscal line appears prudent. The UK's debt-to-GDP ratio hovers around 100%, and gilt yields have remained sensitive since the market turmoil of late 2022. But context matters. History shows that cutting spending and raising taxes during periods of weak growth can push an economy into a self-reinforcing downturn. Lower government outlays reduce aggregate demand, firms experience slower sales, investment stalls, unemployment rises, and tax receipts fall, forcing yet more cuts to hit fiscal targets. Several warning lights are already flashing: sluggish GDP growth. Output expanded by barely 0.1% across 2023. Early 2024 figures show the economy oscillating between marginal growth and contraction. A single negative quarter won't doom an economy, but string 2 together and you meet the technical definition of recession. Falling real incomes. Wage growth has improved nominally, but once inflation and tax hikes are deducted, disposable income for median earners is still below its 2019 level. Consumer spending, which accounts for roughly 2/3 of UK GDP, cannot recover if households feel poorer each month. Corporate retrenchment. Business investment remains weak, hampered by policy instability and high borrowing costs. ONS data indicate that small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, are scaling back expansion plans and hiring. In sectors from hospitality to manufacturing, insolvencies have risen to levels last seen in the 2008-09 financial crisis. Public sector stress. Hospitals now face record waiting lists above 8 million treatments. Councils in Birmingham, Nottingham, Croydon, and elsewhere have issued Section 114 notices signaling de facto bankruptcy. With critical services hollowed out, productivity suffers and regional inequalities widen,